Hey class, today what we're going to do is we're going to name some polynomials and how to name them. If you look here, these are some examples of just some polynomials. Polynomial just means, so if you see the word poly, that just means multiple. So we're looking at multiple terms here, and it just kind of depends on that. And they're kind of broken down. So there's this thing called the degree, which is the exponent that is associated as the biggest exponent. So if you notice here for a polynomial, this is -7. It doesn't have an exponent, or it doesn't have a variable. So my exponent, my degree is 0, and the name that we're going to give a degree of 0 is a constant. Here we've got a polynomial. It's got two terms, and then we've got an x. It's implied that there's an exponent of a 1 there. So that means that 1 is bigger than the 0 that I have here. So my degree is going to be a 1. If it has a degree of 1, it's linear. Here, my biggest degree is a 2. So I got a 2 as the degree. That one's called a quadratic. If it's got a degree of 3, 3 is my biggest between the 3 and the 1. So that one's called a cubic. Anything that gets bigger than that, we go 5th degree or 4th degree or 6th degree, whatever it is. Whenever you're multiplying here, what you're going to do is add the exponent. So I got 2 plus 3. That gives me the degree of 5. That's only if you're multiplying. Now, if you notice this has multiplication and or addition and subtraction all here, that means that we don't multiply, we don't add the exponents. So this is just by itself. This is just a 3. This is just a 2. These are multiplication. There's no addition in there. So make sure that you don't add those exponents for those unless it is multiplication. And then we name it as well with the number of terms that it has. So if you notice here, this has a term, one term. So whenever it has one term, so there's only one thing, it is called a monomial. Here we've got two terms, so the 4x is a term and the 2 is a term. So that has two terms, so that's called a binomial. So if you think of mono, that's 1. Bi means 2. And if you think of tri, I've got 3 terms here. That's a trinomial. And so if you notice here, I got 2 terms. That's a binomial, and I've got 1 term there. Even though it has 3 things with it, the separation is the addition and subtraction. So that's what makes it different terms. So that's how we would name them. And it's all based on, you're going to use the name here and the name here in order to name our polynomials. So let's do some examples. Alright, so if you notice here, I'm going to name the following polynomials. So I've got here 5x squared minus 1. So I've got 2 terms and my degree is 2. So that means I'm going to, since the degree is 2, it's going to be a quadratic. And I have 2 terms, so that means that I've got a binomial. Alright, here, this one, we only have 1 term. It's got a degree of 1, so that means it's going to be a linear monomial. So that is how we name that one. This one has 3 terms, and it's got a degree of 3, because the 3 is bigger than the 1 and the 0 that we have here. So that one is a cubic trinomial. And then this one we would just have the 74 is by itself, so that one is a constant because our degree is 0. And we only have 1 term, so that is a monomial. And that is how we name polynomials.